How are we doing, guys? Moose here, episode 51 of our West Ham United career mode, and we are currently at January 25th, moving towards the 27th, and this is going to be a big episode for us. We're going to have two games. We're going to take on Newcastle in the Capital One Cup second leg semifinal, of course, which we won the first leg, 3-1 big victory. And then we're going to take on Reading in the FA Cup. So we're going to have two games. We're also going to bang through the transfer window. We get an offer here early on for Carlton Cole for £1 million from Blackburn Rovers. His value is 1.1, but he's 32. His stats are going downside fair. We'll just accept that, let Carlton go down to Championship, get plenty of playing time, and finish out his career on his own terms. So like I said, we're coming into a big game against Newcastle away. Obviously, they do have one away goal. Chelsea just demolished Wigan 5-1 over the two legs. So this would be huge. If we do manage to scrape through, we're definitely going to be facing Chelsea in the cup final. But like I said, we're going to have this game. We're going to keep going with the transfer window. We're going to play Reading, and then we're going to have transfer deadline day and get through everything. So it's going to be an action-packed episode. We're going to have a ton of stuff going on. I got a couple special little things packed later on in the episode, so be sure to keep watching and stay tuned the whole way through. But we come out with a pretty decent line ball, so we've had to mix up the team a bit with fitness issues and what have you. Wickham leading the line, Valencia on the left, Morrison, Rodriguez also in that attacking lineup, Delph and Noble sitting in holding midfield. So decided to mix it up, give a couple players a chance. Ravel showing some lovely skills, a little double step over here, plays a 1-2 with Connor Wickham there. Outside to enter Valencia, he cuts inside, has a shot from well outside the area in the danger area on Tim Krul, but he's just not able to put it on target. Same thing here with Aaron Cresswell. He takes a free kick and he gets close to the goal, but just not able to put it on target. And he's been dangerous from free kicks, but hasn't really had anything lately. The best chance from a free kick really came here with Newcastle forcing Adrian to do a really good save before Fabian Delph was able to smash the ball to safety before anyone could pounce on a rebound. Another 1-2. I had Wickham here in this attack role playing as a target man, and it really allowed guys like Rodriguez to link up really well. We should have done so much better. There was a great bit of skill by Rodriguez in the penalty box to get to the byline, but he just takes one touch too many, and it goes out and away for a Newcastle goal kick. Rodriguez then with another chance here. Nice skill move to get inside of a couple men. Beats Gutierrez with a lovely reverse step over. Has a shot, but he doesn't get a ton of power on it. And Tim Krul again makes a really nice save. And Newcastle, they did come out pretty aggressive because obviously they needed goals. A 2-0 victory for them would push them through into the final on away goals. If we hold them anything less than 2, we're going through no matter what. If we score a goal, they'll have to get at least 3 to force it to extra time. So I think we felt pretty confident we could keep them from getting 3 goals. 2 goals would obviously be something that we felt confident we could do. We have had a very solid defense, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 games taking on Chelsea and Manchester United this season away from home. But Newcastle didn't scare us in that similar vein. They're not in great form. They're not playing terribly at all, and they create a ton of chances here. You can see Gutierrez with a really good chance there. Cabela was arguably their most dangerous player from that cam rule. So they had a few really good players. Wickham with a lovely ball here looking for Rodriguez, and it's just cleared away at the last second. Only as far as Jarvis does, played into the legs of Fabian Delph. He boots the ball inside to Mark Noble in the center of the park. The West Ham legend plays the ball into Connor Wickham. He spreads the play out wide to Francisco Rodriguez, our youngster. Turns inside, plays it back for Kevin Nolan, and his header just goes right over top of the bar. We then create another lovely chance here with Nolan being played through by Wickham, but we know Kevin Nolan doesn't have the pace. He has like 45 sprint speed or something of that nature, so he has to lay it off to Wickham. Wickham does have a strike that's saved well by Tim Krul, but he was actually offsides just barely in the build-up. Anyways, 88th minute now, Ben Arfa with a free kick on the ball. Lays in looking for the head of Cisse. It's a good save by Adrian, but Davide Santon is able to latch onto the rebound and use his strong neck muscles to leap and smash it in the back of the net with his head and give Newcastle a lifeline here. And really this would turn the game into backs to the wall time, because Newcastle, with us not scoring a goal, all they needed was 1 more and they would go through on away goals. So the last few minutes, last 3 minutes and then into stoppage time would be backs to the wall time. It was a good save by Adrian on the free kick, but for all the good saves that he makes, I'll tell you what, he always seems to give up one really weird goal where he just lets a poor rebound in. But Rodriguez here would end up having the last chance of the game. His shot was blocked, and that would be all she wrote. We do end up going through. Newcastle, despite scoring that goal, they didn't threaten afterwards, and we hold on, and with a 3-2 aggregate victory, despite losing the match 1-0, we are going to be going through to the Capital One Cup final, taking on Chelsea. And it's going to be a huge chance for us to try and win some silverware. And in this game, the 3 man of the match performance points are going to go to Rodriguez getting 1 point, Adrian, who despite giving up that goal I thought played really, really well and gets 2 points, and Nicholas and Kulu, the defender. He only gets a 6.2 rating from FIFA, but I thought he actually played really well. He broke up a lot of attacks using his pace and was really a good last line defense for us. You can see we kind of dropped into like a 4-3-1-1, 4-3-2 formation at the end of the game to try and hold our lead, and thankfully we were able to do that. 3-2 victory on aggregate over Newcastle. You can see we've gone through Derby, Leicester, and now Newcastle from the round of 16 on to get to the finals to match up with Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. And we know obviously from real life, they are fantastic in terms of cup finals. They obviously beat Tottenham Hotspur in the real life Capital One Cup final this season. So definitely going to be something we are going to have to watch out for. But some huge transfer moves here as we get back from Aston Villa that they have matched our £3.8 million offer for Morgan Amalfitano, which is huge for us. Obviously, they rejected our first counteroffer of 3.9. We bumped it down to 3.8, and they said, sure, that's his valuation. We'll give it to you. They need a winger, and they decide to bring him into the club. So fantastic for us that they bring in Morgan. As long as the deal goes through and he signs on. We also see Carlton Cole has agreed to go to Blackburn, so good for Carlton to let him get some playing time elsewhere. We also get a note from the board that they're very happy with our performance, despite some concern on the performance of the football club. I'm not really sure what that means because we're currently sitting in and around the Champions League places, and we just made the Capital One Cup final despite losing our match. So I'm not really sure what kind of issues they're having in terms of the fan sentiment, but the board says we're happy with you and you're going to stay in the team. Francisco also comes to see me after that game and says thanks for getting in the team, and I say thank you for putting in a good shift for us, buddy. So that's fantastic to see him happy with his time. And this is a move that I was interested in making that may shock you. A player who's been unsettled with his time in Palermo. He wants to make a higher step into Europe. We're currently in the Europa League, so he can feature for us there now. And he also wants to make a jump into the Champions League. And it's Paulo Dybala, the center forward from Palermo, the youngster. And I decided to offer up a player that may shock you, Ravel Morrison, because to be honest, he hasn't done the job for me in the Premier League. He's done decent in cups, even in the Europa League where we haven't had as high standard competition, but in terms of the Premier League, when I've had to bring him in on games that Downing isn't fit for, he just hasn't had the impact that I really need from him. And with a cam, what I really like is to have someone with pace that can run at the defense, but also pick a pass. The thing with Ravel, he's got lovely dribbling, fantastic dribbler, but he doesn't have a ton of pace. He doesn't have fantastic passing stats. He's a really good dribbler, like I said, but he doesn't excel really anywhere. He's really, really good in a lot of attributes, but I need someone that's going to excel. And the thing with Dybala is he has a ton of pace, and the way I think he'll factor into the attack here is linking up with Carroll. He can run onto the ball. He also could play in an attacking midfield winger-type role and make big runs with a lot of pace and get in behind the defense and create a lot of havoc from the wing. So if we do end up bringing him in, I think it would be fantastic for us and a move that could really shake things up, because as it stands, Ravel just isn't doing the job for us. Nothing against the kid. He's done fantastically. I've really liked him. But in terms of what we need to be doing to try and improve in the Premier League, if he does go, we'd wish him all the best, but we need to be picking up some quality in terms of attacking. And also, not to mention, guys like Valencia, Sacco, even Wickham's only scored once in the Premier League. We've really relied a little bit too much on Andy Carroll. And so I think that bringing in a striker with some pace will add a different dimension. Someone who's been very, very clinical in the Italian Serie A. Hopefully he can translate that over to the Premier League. He's been linked to a few other clubs, Manchester United, City even, potentially being interesting, but we want to snap him up. And because we're offering something very valuable to them in return, a player who, by FIFA standard, is actually worth more, he has a higher overall at this moment in time, would potentially be able to deal for him. So we might be actually making a bit of an overspend for him if we do bring him in, but I think he would really just change the overall dimension of the club. And potentially even force some players out. But we take a 1-0 lead here in the FA Cup with James Tompkins with a headed finish from a Stuart Downing corner to give us a 1-0 lead in about the 20th minute. Fantastic play there. Rabiot then lays the ball through to Ender Valencia in the 32nd minute. He does a lovely fake shot to get around his defender, and what a tackle by Taylor that is. to prevent Eder Valencia from getting a shot away towards goal. Rabiot then plays Andy Carroll through. He's leading the line by himself in this game today. Comes forward, actually has a shot, but he's taken out by the defender as he goes to hit his shot. And you wonder if that had a bit of an impact in the contact he made. The referee decides to give a yellow card, and he actually gives a penalty as well that Carroll himself will step up to take. And full of confidence, the big striker smashes into the back of the net. Huge FA Cup goal. Also, he's really been our Premier League go-to guy. Hasn't featured a ton in the cup competitions, but with us, kind of playing a bit of a rested lineup against Newcastle, I decided, you know what, Andy Carroll, you're all getting starts in this game. Downing started. We actually had Jarvis play, but we had a lot of our normal players in there, mainly because of the fact that our game that was originally going to be scheduled a couple days after this against Manchester United actually gets pushed back because I saw that in the FA Cup they actually drew like the day before against Arsenal, and it led to their game and having to be pushed back with us because they'll have a cup replay. So Reading do get one back here in the 45th minute. You wonder, it's a good header, great ball in, nice little flick ball. They out-jump Tompkins, but Adrian just leaves himself in no man's land. He starts to come for the ball, then it just floats over his head because he's left his line, and Robson Kanu does pull one back for Reading. So it's a good finish by them, but something that we don't want to be giving up a goal that close to stoppage time and give them a bit of a lifeline as they go into the half. But Eder Valencia with a lovely chance here. The ball's played back to him, and what a strike it was. Really good save by Federici on the smash to the top corner from Valencia. Really good save by the Reading keeper to keep them in this tie, because the lower clubs, obviously Reading dwelling in the championship right now, they want to be making an impact in games such as this, just because it's really their bread and butter for the season. If they're not focused on the championship, they would love to bring in, this is a real one piece of silver where they could bring in, give the fans a little bit of excitement. So they came out very well, but Cheku Kiyate with a wonder strike seals the tie for us and basically propels us into the next round with an absolute screamer from 30 yards. Cheku Kiyate steps onto the ball, takes a touch, gives himself some space, and bang into the back of the net. You see Valencia just lays it off to him. He takes 2 touches, and that is an absolute stunner into the back of the net. Nothing Federici could do. There's so much power. Lovely finish right into the top netting. Beautiful strike from the Senegalese midfielder, and it gives us a 3-1 lead, and it allows us to sit back now and hopefully see this tie out. What a finish it was. An absolute thunderbolt from the right foot of the midfielder into the back of net to give us a 3-1 lead. Wonderful goal, I'll tell you what. We then come forward trying to look for more. Kiyate from a similar spot that he scored earlier lays the ball off to Jarvis this time. He tries to create some havoc with a low ball played in to the back post of Valencia, but a lovely block by the Reading defender prevents him from scoring at the back post. On the ensuing corner, Tompkins with a header, but it just goes inches wide of the right-hand corner. Thiago's come on as a substitute, then lovely bit of dribbling to get around his defender, creates a chance, plays it to the back post, but we're unable to find that final ball and get ahead on it. Gets past Carroll, though we do see the game out, and Kiyate's goal propels us to a 3-1 victory. You have to give it to Reading. They really played well in the early going, but once we got those 2 goals and put them under the caution, taking a lead, it was really all over from there, and Kiyate's goal just sealed it. So for me, the 3 points in this game, Cheku Kiyate does get my man of the match and 3 points. James Tompkins actually gets 2 points, obviously a goal and some good clearances on the back end. And Eder Valencia, who I thought was pretty influential from the left wing, ends up getting 1 point. So now, transfer rumors roundup as we head towards transfer deadline day. Carlos Tevez on Paulo Dybala to West Ham rumors. It's a fantastic club with amazing fans. He would do well there. So you see the Argentinian and former West Ham legend who saved us from relegation giving Dybala some wise words that he would definitely further his club and love playing in East London. We also see that West Ham are chasing the signature of PSG midfielder Javier Pastore, who's out of contract at the end of the season. Another big move that could really shake up the team if they do bring in Pastore, who can play both centrally in an attacking role and on the left wing. So it'd be interesting if we're able to do that. We see Amalfitano has agreed to go to Aston Villa, so we wish him the best, but he'll be away and we get £2.8 million to work with. Palermo agree the deal to take in Ravel Morrison to Italy while sending us Dybala the other way. So if he does agree a contract, we will be making a huge move to bring in a new center forward slash winger slash attacking midfielder / striker. He can really do it all. Even though his one position he's listed at is center forward, I think he can do a job for us. And we see a huge other move on transfer deadline day leading up to it. Juan Mata, Manchester United central attacking midfielder, has been in really, really good form, leaving for Real Madrid as they try to strengthen themselves in the second half of the season. So a huge deal there. We then come in for Pastore. He's on $100,000 a week, so I decided to offer him $100,000 again for 4 years as well as regular playing time. We actually don't offer a squad role because I don't, it leads to less complaining, to be honest. If you can always get away with that, do it. But Pastore says, you know what? I'm looking for a new challenge. I'm going to join my fellow Argentinian Dybala as they both accept their contracts. You wonder if maybe they were talking to each other and saying, hey, we're both going to go to West Ham. This could be huge for us, similar to Tevez and Mascherano both coming to West Ham back in the mid-2000s. This is a huge deal for us, huge couple of deals, I should say. Ravel Morrison will be going the other way, so no transfer fee. It's a straight swap as we send him to Palermo to try and ply his trade over in Serie A, where he can really show his technical quality off. And we bring in Dybala, the lovely little striker, as well as Javier Pastore. And West Ham United officials said the Hammers are pleased to announce the signing of Javier Pastore from PSG on a 4-year deal. Hashtag welcome Pastore. So in the comments, feel free to hashtag welcome Pastore, hashtag welcome Paulo, hashtag potentially Jordan Obita, welcome, as we offer $2 million for the player who we actually just saw in Reading as we took them on the FA Cup, and he really impressed me. He played well, and we are looking for left back / right back cover because I think he would do a job in right back behind Cresswell and Jenkinson. As our only other real options are Joey O'Brien, who's getting on age and doesn't have a high ceiling, as well as Danny Potts, who Obita I think has a higher ceiling than him as well, in my personal opinion. So Jordan Obita would be a lovely player to bring in. Reading do accept that $2.2 million offer, and then for $7,000 a week, we say Jordan Obita, welcome to the club. Hashtag welcome Obita. We do let Sebastian Lletget leave to go to Rangers. He's going to go to Scotland on a minimal fun deal. We then see a couple huge moves. These were the real moves of deadline day. David Villa coming to Stoke City for $5.5 million. Benteke leaving to Valencia for $18.5 million. And Diego Costa, the top scorer in the Barclays Premier League, actually leaving to Chelsea, or from Chelsea to Barcelona for 60-odd million pounds. So some huge moves, some players leaving. I can't believe Chelsea would allow him to leave, but they clearly feel that the money was well worth it, and they do have some striking options in lieu of Costa. Raul Meireles, the Portuguese man, comes into Crystal Palace. We see Fulham adding Collins from us. They also bring in Cattermole on a free transfer while letting Rodallega, their top scorer, and Ruiz go. Ruiz actually went to Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool bring in the Portuguese winger Quaresma on a free transfer for next season. We see City not making a ton of moves. Fofana. United, their only move was letting Mata go, so maybe he was surplus to retirements with guys like Januzaj, Di Maria making moves, Rooney drawing back into attacking midfield. You wonder if that played a role in him being forced out of the club. But he had been playing well for them, so who knows what the real inquisition in terms of that was. Stoke obviously bringing in David Villa, who would be at New York City FC, but they're not in the game at this moment in time. While we make some huge moves, Grenier, Pastore coming in on free transfers, Dybala and Obita to join the club right now. And we take a look at our official transfer business from the whole window. We brought in Nkulu, Jenkinson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Delph, and Rabiot, as well as Wickham in the first transfer window. We now bring in Obita and Dybala to join the club, Pastore and Grenier on free transfers. We've allowed guys like Zarate, Gordon, Maiga to leave, Ravel Morrison left, Colo Malfitano, Collins as well. So some huge moves for us. And with that, we're going to end this episode saluting our departing Hammers. We want to say hashtag thank you, Ravel. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, James. And thank you, Carlton, guys who did feature regularly in this career mode. Carlton Cole with 2 goals in 13 appearances. Collins making 33 appearances for the club and doing very, very well. Morgan Malfitano with 1 goal that was a goal of the season candidate against Leicester City last season. His only goal for the club in 33 appearances. And Ravel, like I said, from 38 appearances, he did have 4 goals and 9 assists, but the majority of those coming in cup competitions, not in the league. And really, 6.3 run rating. If you take a look at the ratings, I've actually compiled them for the season so far. He was one of the lowest players rated in our entire midfield from all of those options we had to pick from. So with that, we do send in packet, and we want to thank everybody here. So hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and hashtag thank yous as well. So we'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.